Welcome to Church Around the Corner 2.0 and chat number 3. And we're back again to continue this conversation of who we are. My name is Eric.
And my name is Mark. Welcome again.
And today we want to continue to highlight some of the values of Church Around the Corner 2.0.
2.0.
And one of these values today is hospitality. And Mark, what exactly is hospitality in this context? We're not a hotel chain. Which is kind of what it sounds like, but what is it? What does hospitality mean?
Hotel around the corner, that's correct. And in the previous one where I was talking about my creeds, one of my creeds has not been hotel management. So, but in this context, when we're talking about Church Around the Corner being a place that practices hospitality, we want to think about words like welcoming, engaging, warm, friendly, receptive. We are intentional about creating and gathering people into spaces that include others, regardless of their beliefs of lifestyle or ethnicity or sexual orientation or socioeconomic status. We want comfortable, gracious spaces. And the phrase I'd use is more this sense of radical hospitality.
Oh, radical. So now we're not a 80s ski film. That's rad. What does radical mean? In what sense?
Well, rad in the sense of the root sense of that word, radical, is getting to the root of things. In many senses, you could say the Christian good news, the gospel, is fundamentally about God's radical hospitality to humankind. In Jesus Christ, we've been accepted as God's special guests. We're all recipients of God's radical hospitality. God has welcomed us in a way into the community of God, as wild as that sounds. And we are special guests at God's table.
Well, I like that idea in terms of being a guest at God's table. And what does that look like?
Well, at the time that we're recording this, which is towards the end of December in 2014, you might have heard this news snippet of a Jordanian Air Force plane that's been shot down over ISIS-occupied territory, and ISIS is claiming that they shot it down. But what struck me as interesting, that the pilot's father, the Jordanian father, made an appeal to the captors, ISIS in this case, to treat his son as a special guest. And he's directly referencing an abiding value in Middle Eastern cultures and many other cultures, and that is hospitality to guests. The picture of that is a home and a table where the host pulls out all the stops and treats the guest really, really well. And that's the reality that we want to aim towards. I mean, we won't be perfect, but that's where we want to go. Just as we have been recipients of God's radical hospitality, we're special guests at God's table. We want to show radical hospitality to others. That's the pitch.
Yeah, okay. Great. How does that work out practically?
Yeah, practically. Good. Yeah. And I think the reality is what we want to be very clear about. It's the Christian church struggles to practice radical hospitality to outsiders that God has already welcomed. And we can summarize a lot of the church history as this sort of, yes, you're welcome, but... And the first group we actually see in the New Testament, where the non-Jews, the Gentiles, people in the early church, the Jews, well-meaning, said, yes, God has welcomed you as Gentiles, outsiders, into God's forever family. But would you please do some of the Jewish things also, like getting circumcised? In fact, in one of the letters of Paul, who had a mission to the outsiders, the non-Jews, he uses some very stern language. He says, well, if you're going to force them to be circumcised, why don't you just go all the way and just cut off the whole package? It's like, really, whoa.
I'm not really sure how to follow up on that, but I do like that idea of the concept of yes, but. And I think in the work that I do, there is people pick up very quickly. Working with non-church disinterested people, they pick up very quickly if it's welcoming with a whole lot of strings attached. To create a space where everyone is welcome to follow Christ and to have discussion and to think deeply about faith. It's great. Any other examples?
Well, I mean, we could just I'm going to talk about the Christian community struggle to practice radical hospitality. Take women, right? Yes, you're welcome as a woman, but yeah, you know that the top jobs or the roles have been reserved for men. I mean, Christian communities, some of them still struggle with that. It wasn't that long ago. Yes, you're welcome as a slave. God has accepted you totally, but you should just accept your slavery and your bondage and your lack of freedom. Yes, but and the modern struggle ripping things up for the Christian church in many places is yeah, yes, you're welcome as a gay person in Christ, but don't do anything with your sexual orientation, please. So we want to aim towards radical hospitality with no if, ands, or buts.
Right.
Because you know what happens when there are a lot of buts around, Eric. And I'm not talking cigarettes or cigars.
No, I got this one. You have a lot of asses.
Right.
And we don't want to be that. And related to hospitality, if you have that group, I think the constant underlying thing is that there's going to be differences of opinion within the group.
Yeah.
And I think to create an honest hospitality, we need to be able to disagree with one another and still be in community.
Yeah.
As opposed to just fracturing and being only with groups that are like you. And the Christian faith has many solid commitments to things that we can agree on, but our disagreements can still be respectfully appreciated in this kind of community without splitting us apart.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's our goal as the Church Around the Corner, is to be a community. Even though we don't necessarily believe the same thing, we can practice radical hospitality to one another.
Yeah.
Right.
Both.
Yeah.
To people
and
as well as in ourselves. Yeah. Great. Okay. So people are welcome, yes, but people are welcome. And I think we can build on this idea of hospitality as well as this appreciation of differences by another value, which is celebration and fun.
Right. Yeah.
What does that mean?
Well, I think it flows out of our belief that encounter with Jesus is meant to be life-changing, but it's meant to help us to live life to the full. I mean, Jesus says, "I've come that you might have life to the full," right? And unfortunately, sometimes our life in Christian life is not full of joy or meaning on life, but becomes overly serious and negative sometimes, and a critical approach to faith and to other people and to outsiders, right? And a life of faith and a journey, as you journey along with people, can be filled with laughter and joy in the midst of hard things. And our group, want to be a group that values laughter, and parties, and fun, and
coming together.
Yeah,
great.
Exactly.
I mean, I think at this time it would be appropriate to end with a joke, since we are about celebration and fun.
Better be good.
Mark, what smells bad and sounds like a bell?
Smells bad and okay, you got me.
Dung. Not a good one, but please continue the conversation. Church Around the Corner, blogspot.ca.
Awesome.